Boomer coming to you live for the Built Ford Tough Studio. Boomer Esiason, Greg Giannotti. It's Boomer and Gio on the Fan. Simulcast across the country on CBS Sports Network. And wherever you are in the free Odyssey app, good Tuesday morning. We have had a great run here of New York sports over the last month or so. Great runs, a lot of wins, a lot of fun. But it is coming crashing down. The Mets, of course, getting eliminated by the Dodgers was the first one. The Jets losing 5 in a row was next. The Giants, of course, now in the midst of another nothing season. And the Yankees on the brink of elimination and on the brink of being swept by the Dodgers. Just frustrating, tough to watch. I mean, the Yankees cannot compete with good baseball teams if Aaron Judge can't hit. I mean, there's a lot of things that go on in these games, but that's really what the Yankees, since Aaron Judge has been the focal point of this team since 2017, if he doesn't hit like he doesn't hit in the postseason, they can't beat teams like the Astros, like the Red Sox that one year, like the Rays who were built better than them, and like the LA Dodgers in 2024. They can't keep up. And to watch them last night be completely just overwhelmed by Walker Buehler and the Dodgers pitching when I thought they were going to score some runs last night. I really did. With the bullpen game coming up, I thought they'd get to Buehler, then Dave Roberts wasn't going to use his best arms in this game, and they would win. And they're just sitting there looking at fastballs, looking at fastballs, looking at fastballs, looking at fastballs. Just really, really frustrating, and I don't see how they win a game at this point. Good morning, Boomer. How are you?
Yeah, good morning, Jay. So what this reminds me of, it reminds me of the 2015 World Series between the Mets and the Kansas City Royals, where the Kansas City Royals basically schooled the Mets. And we were Met fans. We sat there. We watched it. We were frustrated. We did get the Matt Harvey night, and then all of a sudden that blew up. But I just felt like the Royals, who had been to the World Series the year before, just had everything going right for them. They had good, solid pitching. They had timely hitting. They could play the field. They could play defense. They could do all the little things that are required to win games at this level. You know, we're not in the middle of July. We're not in the middle of August, where a 3-game losing streak is not going to kill you, and you can come back from it and get hot again. This is the World Series. This is it. This is what it all comes down to. And even though I was saying it tongue in cheek, there was something to be said about the Yankees getting here through a cakewalk, because those teams that they played, Kansas City and Cleveland, are not the Dodgers. The Dodgers are, and we saw it as Met fans, the Dodgers are a really well put together team. They do a lot of little things right. They know how to run the bases. I could start off in a million different directions this morning. I could start off with the starting pitching. We could talk about Aaron Judge. We could talk about 11 strikeouts. We can talk about Luis Rojas sending a guy who they've told all year long, don't run. Whatever you do, don't run. That's going to hurt you. And we're gonna ask him to go from second to home on a ball that's hit to left field. I mean, that to me, that's just a reflection of what this series is all about.
Yeah. So
bad decisions, bad ideas, bad plays in the field.
So when I watched this live, I was like, why are you sending him? He's lumbering. He can't move, the whole thing. And then I look back and I'm like, man, it did take a great throw. He had gotten to second base on the double, and he looked spry. The Yankees can't drive anybody in.
By the way, he almost got thrown out of second base.
Yeah, but he almost whatever. So with horseshoes and hand grenades, right? So he almost scored on that thing too. So I mean, I don't. I didn't have a problem him being sent in that situation after I thought about it.
I did 100%. The moment that it happened, I'm like,
because the Yankees get a lot of big hits, right? So let's leave a guy on third base with 2 outs. But I'm just saying,
you just don't want to make an out at home, and especially when you're in the middle of a
don't want to leave a guy at third base with 2 outs.
Look, this is what's going on with the Yankees. They have their slowest guy standing on second base, and he gets thrown out at home. And I just got done telling you that I felt like this was the Royals versus the Mets back in 2015. They're making the defensive plays. The Yankees have not made the defensive plays. The Yankees are striking out. The Dodgers aren't striking out. The Dodgers have gotten strong starting pitching. The Yankees in the last two games have gotten very little from their starting pitching. Too many walks. Too many starting innings with men on base for the Dodgers. And this is all with, and you can see Shohei Ohtani's not right. You can see it. We can all see it. I mean, he's just standing up there. He can barely swing the bat. And what's his name? Clark Schmidt walks him on the first, at bat of the game. Like, what are you doing? Make him hit it.
That's exactly what I said. I was like, guys, last time we saw this guy, his shoulder was popped out of the socket, so let's not throw him a strike.
Exactly. So, I mean, like, all of these little things add up to where the Yankees are right now. And I hate to say it, but I'm going to go back to game one, and it comes down to one pitch, and it changed the whole series. I don't know if the Yankees can get out of this. I really don't. I don't have the confidence that they can. I picked them to win in 7, and now it looks like they're getting steamrolled. Maybe they win tonight. Maybe that's the case. And by the way, tonight, I guess there was a chance that Garrett Cole would pitch. He's not going to pitch.
Yeah, which is another. I'm confused, and maybe there's something that they're not telling us. But analytics have taken over the game. We know that. The Dodgers do it well. The Dodgers also have as much talent as anybody in baseball. So I don't know if it's great analytics or great talent or a combination of both, whatever. But there's just certain guys that I just always, and I said the same thing yesterday about him coming out of the game. There's just certain guys that at this point in the season, I'm expecting Garrett Cole to just go for it, like completely. Like this is why I'm here. This is why I'm making all this money. This is why I have the pinstripes on. Okay, we're down 3-0, but hell, we're not going to go down with me on the mound. Give me the ball.
Yeah, well, the one thing I will say is that the Yankees are probably looking at the Dodgers, going, okay, they got a bullpen game, so maybe we do have a little bit of. Although I will say the last 2 starting pitchers, Rodon and Schmidt, gave them nothing. Just basically served up, go for balls and also walk guys. I mean, just afraid to throw strikes. And I understand that because the Dodgers are a hell of a team. They're balanced. They hit. They do the right thing. I mean, watching Freddie Freeman in the first inning go yard last night, I'm like, you got to be that is just like insane.
No, I mean, yeah. So it's like you all right, so you've come to peace with the fact that you're down 2-0. You got 3 games at home. The Yankee fan that paid money through the nose to get into the building is finally going nuts and cheering and there. And listen, we win this game. Walker Buehler stinks, and we get a bullpen game. We can get this thing 2-2. Everybody's there, ready to go, and then whap, first inning, and it just boom, life gets sucked right out of it. Then Aaron Judge strikes out in his first at bat. I mean,
he missed that ball by 3 feet.
Yeah, I mean, that was a 3-2 pitch too. I mean,
he missed that ball. I don't 3 feet. That's a little extreme, but maybe by 5 or 6 inches.
I mean, they're not like they have run into better teams every single time that they've been eliminated in the postseason in the Aaron Judge era from 2017 on. They've never had a series where they were the better team and lost, and we see that a lot. Like, for example, like the Phillies, I believe the Phillies were the better team for the entire year, but the Mets went in there and beat them. Like they're thinking, like, crap, we should have won this series. Like, we were here, we were in the playoffs, everything else. They were the better team. The Mets were hot, more hot. They were able to win that series. What happens with the Yankees in the postseason is they run into these teams that are more complete, whose stars perform. So the Yankees I shouldn't say that. Soto's been pretty good. Stan's been good. But Judge is a 0. And this Yankee team cannot beat a good team with Judge being a 0.
So think about this. For 3 games, think about starting pitching and defense first. Who has won that battle?
Starting pitching and defense is obviously the Dodgers.
All right, so that has nothing to do, really, with I'm not even talking about offense because obviously we know what's going on with the Yankee offense. It's flat, it's dead. But they had a chance to win Game 1, and one decision to bring Nestor Cortez in an impossible situation for him, to me, is the decision that is ultimately going to end up losing the Yankees this World Series. I'm sorry, it's a momentum.
They weren't going to win this series anyway. I mean, they could have won that game and extended it.
It's a momentum game. That was a momentum shifter right there. And then Freddie Freeman has been a monster that I don't think anybody expected, especially coming off of the ankle. Remember, They were talking to him after they beat the Mets. Are you going to be playing in the World Series? Are you going to be playing? You have 4 days off. Are you going to be playing? Are you going to be playing? How's the ankle? Ankle okay? You going to be all right?
Well, he got healthy.
I guess what? He's like, hey, I just had 4 days off.
Yeah, he got healthy.
Dumbasses, why are you asking me this question? Of course I'm playing.
Right. I mean, and I mean, Freddie Freeman's numbers in the World Series are insane. So I don't know if we could say that nobody expected it because if he did get healthy, this is what he does. I mean, he hits home runs in World Series games. It's insane. And he's going to be the World Series MVP. So, I mean,
it's starting game one, bad defense. Game two, bad defense. Obviously, lack of timely hitting, not manufacturing runs, bad starting pitching. Aaron Boone in game one taking Garrett Cole out of the game, and Garrett Cole not fighting to stay in the game. Aaron Boone bringing out Nestor Cortez after he hasn't pitched in 6.5 weeks in an impossible situation. I mean, it's all right there. We all see it.
Right. I know, but all these things that you're talking about, the Yankees were a part of the Yankees season. You know, bad base running.
Nestor Cortez coming out of the bullpen.
Well, that wasn't. But suspect defense. But when you have an MVP in the middle of the lineup,
not doing his job, I know.
It masked all that in a regular season.
And by the way,
you don't think about that stuff. You're winning games. But now it's a big problem.
Hey, listen, the bottom of the lineup's not doing anything either until the bottom of the ninth inning. And we got a bat flip down 4-2.
Well,
I mean, talk about like just not paying attention and not realizing the moment. The whole thing got off to a bad start last night. The whole thing. I mean, what was the opening? What the hell was that?
I was so confused watching this. So I ended up meeting some friends at the Great Portly Villager to watch both the games at the same time.
You're locked in. I love that.
So I walk in, and I had left the house like right around when that Fat Joe thing started. So I didn't see it on my TV, right? So so I'm pulling up to the Portly Villager. And I walk in, and the door is open, so I could hear like the music coming out. And like I'd never heard rap music playing out of the Portly Villager. Like I just had never heard. So I'm like, is somebody blasting rap? Like what's going on? The Yankees and the Giants around? Like what is this? And I walked in and I looked up at the TV, and I couldn't take my eyes off it because it was just so mesmerizingly horrible. And I don't dislike Fat Joe. He's had a nice career as a New York guy, as a New York sports fan, and like good for him. And I don't want. It was so long and so out of place. And I know that they're trying to recreate the Ice Cube thing, whatever. It didn't end. And he's stomping all over the mound. He throws the mic down and drops the mic on the field. I was like, what is this? I mean, and I was honestly in awe, like with my mouth open, like what? Of all the crazy things that we had seen this year, from Grimace to Hawk Tua to the Temptations to whatever, like this went on for like 5 minutes.
It was unbelievable.
And it felt like 45 minutes.
I felt bad for him because
he should have never been in that spot.
I felt bad for him, and the reason I felt bad for him was because, there are probably some people who appreciated it when they were there, but I got to think that you go there to see a baseball game, not a 5-minute concert before the game. I said the same thing about the Temptations. It's just like I don't know what these teams are doing. I mean, this is the World Series. This is your team. Your fans are there. They're revved up for the game. They don't need any artificial, motivation.
So I was at the game 5.
I flipped it over to the Giant game, right at that, it started, and I thought he was going to come out and say a few things, and then he just kept going and going and going. I just flipped it over to the Giant game.
Did they show the Temptations on TV? Because I was at the game.
I don't remember.
Were you watching that? On that Friday night?
I did not see that. No, nor I.
All right, so I don't. So that would be like the difference is like this
I don't know what Major League Baseball was trying to accomplish, and I felt like that was just a bad spot for Fat Joe, and the whole thing just kind of got flat. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, but it's another one of those things. Like it definitely is magnified after a performance like that, because if the Yankees won, you'd forgotten about it and be like, man, that Fat Joe thing really was kind of weird. But hey, who cares? It's 2-1. But it was the same thing that when the Hawk Tua threw out the first pitch, the Mets had a miserable loss that day. And everybody's like, oh, God, it's only the Mets could have this.
Yeah, I'm not blaming a loss on Fat Joe.
No.
Like, I don't know what.
I'm not either. What I'm saying is that it magnifies it when you lose the game. So like you lost the game, you're down 3-0, and now it's just on top of everything else that sucks.
I don't know. I guess I have to explain this again. There are certain teams. The Rangers are one of those teams. The Yankees are one of those teams. And I guess I would even classify the Giants as the traditional, long-standing bearer of excellence within their sport teams. Like, you'd like to think that. It's hard to say that after a team loses or a team's going through what the Giants have gone through over the last 10 years. The Rangers still haven't won the Cup since 1994. But they've been around, like original teams, original six, original football team, original baseball team. Like, this is like, there's history here. You don't mess with history. You promote history. You know, that's what George Steinbrenner did. He locked into the history of the Yankees and created a 90s team that was one for the ages, for sure, and always was built on the history, on Monument Park, on Yankee Stadium. Like, the whole thing was all about yesteryear and living up to those great teams that the Yankees had. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's why, like, the Rangers are an original six team, and they promote that. They believe in the history and the tradition, and the fan base, including myself, wants to pass it down to their kids. And they want to raise their kids as Ranger fans. And the grandkids become Ranger fans. Not all the grandkids, but most of the grandkids, or half the grandkids, let's put it that way. But the point being is that, like, the Yankees don't need all that stuff. The Yankees are the Yankees. I mean, I can't say that. I can't say that any more in praise of what the history of the Yankees is and what it has been, and really what George Steinbrenner did to reinvigorate that feeling around that franchise.
Yeah, I mean, it just didn't end. Just kept going and going. I mean,
I don't understand.
How many? I wanted to go back and see how many minutes that was, because I swear to God, I thought it was like it felt like it was 25 minutes of Fat
I wonder
Joe.
if FanDuel had an over/under on that one.
Oh my God! Like, when he went into the second song, I was like, "You're kidding, right? Like, you're not doing another song. You can't possibly be doing another song."
Yeah, again, I'm not blaming it on him. It was just a bad spot. You know, maybe a minute and a half or something. Maybe you come up with some. I don't know. I don't know what it was. I don't know what it was. And then on top of that, you got the Giants losing in Pittsburgh, and coach calling out the quarterback calling out the team. I mean, it was just an absolute disaster. And then the Knicks lose to the Cavaliers last night. Oh.
Yeah, it wasn't a good night. And Jerry's going to have all of that as he is back with us this morning.